Democratic Senator Bob Menendez was hit with even more indictments for his corruption. But the Democrats in the Senate, well, they think it's okay. We don't allow it's fine to have this freakish criminal sitting there denying that he's a criminal when it's overwhelming. Everybody who talks about it, it's overwhelming. Finally, you got a couple of people that says, really, let's walk what we talk about. Let's get rid of this guy. Like they did Santos. The Republicans got around to getting rid of him. This guy's 10 times worse than Santos.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah, it's almost laughable at this point because this is the third superseding indictment, meaning it's in total the fourth time he has been indicted on new things, because every time they get a new witness to flip, what's happening is that the prosecutors are uncovering even more information. Mm-hmm. So these latest rounds of indictments, what's gone from conspiracy charges against Menendez and his wife has now grown into full-blown, you did it. So it's not a conspiracy to commit the crime. They're saying you actually did do what we thought you were only trying to do. So it is so much worse.
And this isn't his first time, you understand? He got away with this one time before.
Right.
With a hung jury.
Yeah.
The jury didn't acquit. It was a hung jury and they didn't re-prosecute. Exactly the same thing. Here we've got gold bars being hidden in his closet. We got money that is sewn into the lining of his jackets. She gets new cars. He's got all of these perks that people are going, where the hell all this come from? And finally, somebody starts asking questions, and he's a criminal. Bob Menendez is a repetitive criminal. That's what he is. He's an incorrigible criminal, and he's sitting in the Senate with the Democrats. He is a blue Democrat, and they're saying, this is okay. We're just going to let it play itself out. Well, they don't let it play itself out with other folks, but with Menendez, they're doing it. Why is that?
Well, Menendez has been a powerful fundraiser, but I think the biggest issue is that if we get rid of Menendez, we're down to only that one, we have 51 senators right now. We're down to 50. And suddenly then, if we can't get Sinema and Manchin, we're screwed.
But don't you say hell with that sometimes?
Oh, exactly.
Don't you say hell? We have a criminal sitting in our body. We know he's a criminal. He's an incorrigible criminal because this is his second time doing this. And we're just saying it's okay.
Well, not to mention, you kick him out of office, so what happens? The governor is going to just appoint somebody else to the seat. You're still going to have the seat. Get rid of him. You know he is not going to make it through this trial.
Trial May 6th. What an extravaganza for the Democrats. Can you imagine watching that public trial May 6th and hearing the story, and then people go scratching their head, well, I don't get it. Why did they let him sit there for an entire damn year while this was all going on? Why did they do that?
Well, the funny thing is, if he goes through that trial and gets convicted, if he doesn't voluntarily resign, they'll still have to go through the process to expel him, and that's going to be humiliating because he'll be in jail. And they'll still have to say, okay, well, I guess now we can get rid of it. It's going to be embarrassing if they don't do it now.
If they're not already humiliated, I don't know how you humiliate them anymore. A new book by authors Paul Waldman and Tom Schaller claims that voters in the South are actually the biggest threats to democracy. I've got independent newspaper publisher Rick Outzen with me to explain what a crazy statement. I mean, you know what, Rick? I looked at this article, I looked at the interviews that they did with him, I tried to find that golden side to what they were saying. It was bullshit. I mean, that's all I can do is tell you. And can I tell you, Waldman, I like the guy. We've interviewed him. Farron Cousins has interviewed him. I've interviewed him over the years. He's actually brilliant. I was so disappointed to see him involved with this, where the diatribe is it's just partisan hatred. I don't know how else to describe it. Like we're damn Southern idiots who are driven only uniquely by racism and misogynism. It just goes on forever. And I want to just say, really, this is how you're going to break through by telling us that everybody in urban America are a bunch of idiots?
Right. Well, it breaks it down to the argument is that rural America, we are just too stupid. Our values are inconsistent with American core principles, and that we're waiting on Democrats to rescue us. And they've come back with the magic formula. We need to elect better Republicans, which, Mike, we heard this argument 40 years ago when Republicans were complaining and bitching about Democrats, blacks voting with Democrats all the time, or Hispanics voting, that they're not electing the right Democrats. what did the Republican Party do? They started listening more.
Yeah, that's exactly as evil as Lee Atwater was.
Right.
He listened. He didn't go out there and say, "Look, you guys are just a bunch of losers, hate-filled losers that have no." And it wasn't. He's not just talking about the South. You understand? He's talking about the entire United States that's urban. Okay, so what is it? What is it that he says these folks are focused on? That if we don't do something about, democracy is going to fail. He says, I can't believe they focus on CRT or DEI or college professors or Antifa or California or New York. Look, the point is this. We've become so divided in this country that these writers actually felt comfortable basically pulling a Hillary Clinton, the deplorable argument. That's all this is.
Well, and they're getting touted for it.
Yeah,
they're getting touted in the mainstream media
Like, this
by
is
the elites.
brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant.
They found something really unique.
Yeah.
And this argument's been used over and over again for one group of people against another. I mean, the other thing that's really insulting, Mike, in looking at it, is they talk about the brain drain.
Yeah,
That so many young white people have left.
Look at the demographics.
Have
on
left
that,
the
buddy.
rural country.
Yeah, look at the demographic. Look
Yeah.
at the movement back to the rural
Right.
areas.
Well, that's what they're not.
You know.
They don't want to admit that. And the other assumption is because they leave, because they get better educated. This is their view: is that the core values of the rural part of our country are so bad.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't work that way.
We can disagree. I mean, we can disagree. Farron Cousins and I have been doing shows together since he was 20 years old, 21 years old. And, you know, he doesn't agree with me on most things. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff. But we don't attack each other. We can disagree and we can still have an intelligent conversation without it digressing into attacking intelligence, attacking faith, attacking passion. That's what's happening here. That these are qualities that we're going to attack because in our elitist ivory tower, we see it as a drag on democracy. This is just nothing more than the Hillary Clinton deplorable attack. And you know what? It cost Hillary badly. And if candidates believe that this is something they're going to tie into and they're going to make this they're talking about, it's a mistake. I remember, you might have even done this story. I think you might have. We did an article on, it was when we did the Ed Schultz radio show. And it was talking about an analysis that was done of liberals. And it said, they tried to make it look like it was a mental illness.
Right.
Okay, the mental illness of liberals. They were total left brain without capacity for precise analysis. They had an overwhelming tendency to be angry and unhappy. Do you remember this?
Right.
They were unimaginable. They could not handle objective evaluation if they disagreed with it. It goes on and on. This was an evaluation by these so-called shrink sociologists who were telling us what the mind of a liberal looks like. We attacked that then.
Right.
We said, this is ridiculous. I'm attacking this right now. This is ridiculous.
Well, we have to. I mean, we look, they blame rural white America for not voting Democratic. Well, look at how little time Democrat candidates spend in the South.
Talk about that.
Because here, we're in Pensacola. This is definitely Republican stronghold, a lot of independent voters. You know, over, the last 20 years, 25 years, we've had George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, we had Mitt Romney, John McCain, Donald Trump, all come here, hold huge rallies. Not one Democratic presidential candidate.
Well, I mean, can you
has
blame?
been here.
But the point is this. Your point is they want to say that, and it's again this. They're not talking just about the South here. You know, you got rural right outside New York City.
But it's talking about my home,
Yeah,
so
they're talking about
that's why
he
I get
did talk about your home, Mississippi. It called white rural rage and how it's destroying democracy. If candidates believe this is a selling point and this is a positive thing to be talking about in elections, boy, are they in for a surprise.
Right.
Rick, thanks for joining me, okay?
Glad to be here.
That's all for this week, but all these segments will be posted right here on this channel in the coming week, so make sure you subscribe. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where we tell you stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because they're advertisers. They won't allow it. They just won't allow them to tell the stories without them losing advertising dollars, or their political connections don't allow for it. They're either so Republican or so Democrat that they can't shake the tree at all. They can't say anything that colors outside those lines. Obviously, we don't have that problem here. Hope to see you next time.
That it had helped dirty money flow through its branches around the world, including at least 800...
Plaintiffs allege that the defendants provided money and medical goods to terrorist groups Hezbollah and Jaish al-Mahdi.
This is a well-organized business for these individuals that carry out these attacks. Terrorism is a business, and they run it like a business.
They knew about what was going on for a decade. They absolutely, no question about it, knew that HSBC was washing money. They had every reason to understand it was for terrorism and it was for drug cartels. Took no action whatsoever.
These banks are involved. Their accounts are connected, and they're using them to mask the transactions. The more complicated they can make the transactions, the more distance they can put between the bad guys and a seemingly legitimate purpose of these funds.
They pay $1.9 billion, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what they've made, and nobody goes to prison. These CEOs, these bankers that made this decision, they're safe at home. They know what they've done. It's resulted in the death of Americans, contractors and soldiers, not just hundreds, but thousands. And we look the other way because they don't look like criminals. The die is cast. The people that are responsible are on Wall Street.
And they don't look like criminals. It's almost a suspension of disbelief. Sometimes I'll have people call me and say, is this real? Do they really get away with this? Yeah, they do.